Kicking off the list at number 10, Adamantium and Vibranium. Perhaps one of the greatest superheroes to go toe-to-toe with the Incredible Hulk is Wolverine. Especially in the Old Man Logan storyline, we find the Hulk as one of the few remaining superheroes on Earth. Now, this is when the Hulk had a little Hulk gang running around. They were actually responsible for the death of Wolverine's family. So when Wolverine came around to fight it out with the Hulk, he just straight up swallowed him. That's the thing about being a beast like this. You can literally just eat your problems away. But thanks to Wolverine's claws, he's able to easily tear his way out. See, Wolverine, X-23, and the Black Panther are all able to pierce the Hulk's skin. We can see this take place in World War Hulk X-Men. And before we continue on with this list, guys, if you want to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, that would be awesome. It really helps us now, especially while we're working from home up here in Canada. Thank you so much for being patient. You guys are the best. Now let's get right back to this list. Number 9, toxins. In the Incredible Hulk Volume 2, Issue 110, we catch up with Banner after the spaceship that took him to Sakaar blew up. This explosion took out many of his new otherworldly friends, including his new queen. So now he came back to Earth ready to dish out revenge. But thankfully, Scorpion, Carmilla Black, injected him with a toxin that counteracts the Hulk's healing factor. Her arm is packed with a cocktail of new toxins designed by S.H.I.E.L.D. to goof up his gamma-powered physiology. Number 8, rage nullification. See, part of the problem lies in the solution sometimes. In the MCU, we see Natasha able to bring Banner back after the green guy has punched the enemies out of existence. All she has to do is rub his hands and say the sun is getting real low, and voila, now we have Bruce Banner back. In the comics, this is also a weakness. When that rage gets neutralized, Banner is extremely vulnerable, seeing as he's now just a scientist at that point. Betty Ross can also calm down the Hulk, and she does so in issue 141 of The Incredible Hulk. And Sentry as well was able to calm him in Sentry Hulk issue 1. Telepaths have also been known to be able to do this as well. They just need empathy potential and they can emulate this effect. The Inhuman Randall Jessup has the ability to cast out negative emotions, so he can come into play here as well. Number 7, magic users. In Avengers Age of Ultron, when Wanda Maximoff was introduced first as a villain, she played mind games with the entire team. In Wakanda, her and her brother met up with Ultron, and when the team arrives to stop the Vibranium deal, Wanda then uses her magic to weaken the team. She of course gets Banner and he hulks out. Big time. Now at this point in the MCU, like I mentioned, Black Widow was the only key to bringing Banner back out of the green guy. All she has to do is stroke his palm, tell him how the sun's getting low, and Bruce is back, naked and afraid. But this time, Natasha was under some spells herself. She was too busy reliving her dark past while the Hulk just exploded and broke Johannesburg. It took Iron Man and his new Veronica Hulkbuster armor to come and knock some sense into him, or rather, knock some sense out of him. Number 6, enchanted weapons. While Wanda and her magic hands sure do a number on Bruce, enchanted weapons are also effective. We see this in Defenders issue 1. Now at first the Hulk thinks that he's above enchanted beings. He's like waving hands, glowing fingers, those are all stupid things. The Hulk can smash, I mean who needs magic anyways? So his plan was to just smash and smash because he never gets tired. Then in comes Strange and he wraps the Hulk in the crimson bands of Sidorak, all the while the Hulk is begging to be let free. He just wants to destroy something. He's boasting the entire time about how he never gets tired and just wants something to hit, something the same size as him. And then when Necrodamus enters the fight wielding an enchanted blade, well, the Hulk sure feels that one. Number 5, his lack of patience. One of the most intimidating factors of the Incredible Hulk is that he will punch first and ask questions later. It's great, except for when a plan is needed. He doesn't believe anybody is more powerful than him, so he lacks this concern in combat. He's overconfident that he'll win, and in Marvel Team Up issue 13, we see him run into the battle to take on the Skrull Titanus without even consulting the team, and of course, this is the reason he's the first to go down. Even in Avengers Infinity War, he surprises Thanos by jumping out at him, but the element of surprise isn't the only trick. It's not the key here. You can't just jump out, scream, and then start punching people all the time. Some of the time, definitely, but all the time, no way. Thanos punched him so hard he retired. Perhaps patience and better timing could have sufficed. Number 4, gamma radiation. Halloween was always awesome growing up. I would eat the candy while I was collecting the candy. I was just giving myself more and more energy to collect, and I did good too. But too much candy and now you're sweating. Now you feel sick, you're done for the night. Just the sight of a Kit Kat makes you wanna Too much of a good thing sure can hinder your night. Same goes with the Hulk when it comes to gamma radiation. Sure, it's the exact thing that powers him up so he's able to throw statues at his coworkers, but too much gamma radiation and it's bad news. Like in the Future Imperfect storyline, for example, Professor Hulk travels to a dark future where he crosses paths with, well, himself. Future stronger version of himself, the Maestro. The Hulk could not beat this guy, no chance. So instead, he tricked the Maestro and got him to time travel back to the past where that first gamma bomb went off, the same bomb that created the Hulk in the first place. So when the bomb goes off, now there's too much gamma in the mix, and this results in the passing of the Maestro. Too much gamma, too many Kit Kats, tomatoes, tomatoes. Number 3, the Power Cosmic. The Silver Surfer is a big name on the list of the Hulk's weaknesses because the Silver Surfer possesses the Power Cosmic, which was given to him by Galactus himself. So now he has the ability to absorb and tap into ambient cosmic energy and channel it throughout his body. And at this point, he can take out planets if he feels like it. And the Hulk is not a planet. And most of the time he and the Silver Surfer cross paths, it usually ends up with the Silver Surfer coming out on top. Some powers you can't just punch away, you know? Number 2, the Puppy Bomb. Okay, whatever you're imagining in your head as soon as I said the Puppy Bomb, it's much nicer than that. It's not a bomb full of puppies. We're not just gonna launch golden retrievers at Bruce Banner and hopes that it helps, I don't know. But we are launching cute puppies. That's something we are doing. In Indestructible Hulk issue 1, S.H.I.E.L.D. pulls out all the stops to calm down the big guy. And I mean all the stops. Yeah, they just launch a bunch of puppies at him and he goes from to I mean that ought to do a trick. If I saw one puppy, I'd be like, okay. But if I saw like a bunch of puppies, I'd be like, okay. And number 1, Bruce Banner. Other Hulks are able to contain their anger issues while growing into the green monster. She-Hulk is calm and cool and collect. She's got a hand on the wheel. Amadeus Cho, same idea. He's able to keep the angries out as long as he eats food. He keeps the brain going rather than the muscles, you know? But the Incredible Hulk is different, unfortunately. See, Bruce's childhood has something to do with it. His father was awful to him, really awful. He got mad at Bruce because of his high intellect. He ended up going to prison for taking out his mother, so Bruce already had a lot of pain inside him, even as a young kid, before Gamma stuff. The ghost of his father constantly haunted him, and when the Hulk comes out and takes over Banner, those early childhood memories are the fuel behind the fists. It's part of what makes the Hulk story so unique, that Banner has to fight this dark version of himself while also being a superhero. Number 10, Wanda's Mind Games. With many comics to pick and choose all these events from, we gotta start somewhere where most of us kinda remember, just to get the gears turning. So we go back now to 2015, Avengers Age of Ultron. Now before Wanda Maximoff was an Avenger, she was getting her evil days under her belt. She was Team Hydra, or rather Team Ultron in this case. This included playing mind tricks with the Avengers. Wanda got to Banner and he hulked out, and this time it was bad. It ended very badly. Now at this point in the MCU, the Hulk had a handle on his angry side. It was controllable in a way. All he needed was for Black Widow to tap her fingers on his big old green palm and then say, oh, the sun's getting low, you're good, we're all good. Welcome back, Banner, let's go home. But she wasn't able to do that this time because of Wanda's mind tricks. She was also under her hex. Meanwhile, Ultron's getting his cold hands on some vibranium and Bruce is going nuts. He ends up going absolutely crazy and it takes Iron Man and his new Veronica armor, the Hulkbuster armor, he has to knock some senses back into him. Literally, he punches him so hard that he goes to sleep. And before we continue on with this list, guys, if you want to go ahead and give this video a like, that would be great. And while you're there, you might as well just subscribe. I mean, you're already watching these videos, just a little tap-tap-a-roo, and then our face will pop into your YouTube. You don't have to do anything. We'll just show up. So thank you so much for your support. Now let's get right back into this video. Number 9, Soul Survivor. Hulk the End, written by Peter David, released in 2002, is a one-shot that takes place in a world where nobody is left but Bruce Banner. In a world probably resembling our near future following a war that ended in nuclear fallout, the issue starts with Banner vlogging. Yeah, just kind of like this in a way. He's accompanied by a vidbot, this floating camera that always hovers 10 feet away from him. It was assigned to confirm and record the fate of the final humans on Earth. Seeing as Banner is the last one and he's not gonna die, it's just gonna follow him around until the end of time. Banner doesn't mind it, but Hulk hates it. God, that would be so annoying. It's like TMZ, but in the future. It's coming. So Banner just absorbs all this nuclear energy and now he walks about all these wastelands that were once home. He's not totally alone though. No, he comes across these giant mutated cockroaches. And it's a really dark and cold ending for Bruce. The Hulk just wants to be the biggest, baddest creature ever and rule a planet, and Banner just wants to pass away. He's done. He wants nothing to do with this. It goes deep. Also, not to mention that the Hulk often has his body destroyed and devoured by these massive mutant cockroaches. He grows them back afterwards because of the increased gamma, but man, that's gotta suck. Number 8, A Perfect Pair. While Logan broke R-rated records back in 2017, it introduced us to what a darker side to the superhero life may just look like. And in the Old Man Logan storyline, we find the Hulk as one of the few remaining superheroes on Earth. Now at this point, Banner had decided to breed with somebody like him, maybe a bit too much like him. Like say, I don't know, his cousin, Jennifer Walters? Yeah, they had offsprings and they referred to them as Hulk Gang. Now, if you think that's crazy enough, the Hulk Gang was actually responsible for the death of Logan's family. Just cause, well, you know, Hulk Gang gets bored. Hulk Gang wants to fight, that's it. So Wolverine went to exchange a few words with the green guy and the Hulk ended up swallowing Wolverine whole. Yum. Now, it sounds like the Hulk won, but that's not the case in this list. Things are gonna get a little bit different. Wolverine then used his claws to get out in a rather messy way. That's why you don't mess with Logan, Banner, come on. Number 7, kicked out by the Illuminati. When you have this massive green monster that likes to smash buildings and rip people apart, you gotta ask yourself, what do we really do with this guy if things stop working out? Where do we put something like that? Well, you kick him out. Well, rather, you kick him off planet. There's an idea. In Incredible Hulk issue 9, we see this. We see Fury send the Green Goliath out into space for a mission. He was originally sent to destroy the God's Eye, which is a rogue satellite, but then when the dust and wires settle, Hulk gets ready to come back to Earth. Only the shuttle goes a different way. When asked what if the Hulk comes back, Fury responds with, well, we'll deal with it. Well, he didn't return yet, I'll get into that later. But where he did end up, thanks to Fury, was Sakaar, and thus begins the Planet Hulk storyline. Number 6, Horseman of the Apocalypse. War Hulk. Yes, this guy's great, we gotta talk about him. In X-Men Apocalypse, we caught a glimpse of the Horseman. We have Apocalypse surrounding himself with the likes of Storm, Cyclops, Gambit, and Archangel, before going to Magneto himself. But what if he recruited the Hulk in this movie? What if we saw that? What would that look like? What if these superhero properties were all under one roof? Well, that's what happens in the Onslaught storyline. We pick up right after the Hulk and Banner split into 2 separate units, and they're on different Earths. So the angry green one ended up being recruited to serve as the Horseman War, thus giving us War Hulk. This version of the Hulk is just a treat. He's even more intimidating and powerful with Apocalypse's upgrade. Even Apocalypse had to put a limit on his powers. That's how you know it's real. Number 5, Nightmare's Mind Games. We go now to the Incredible Hulk issue 299. So after the Avengers and everybody decided, hey, the Hulk can finally control himself, let's be nice and maybe make a statue for the guy. He earned it. Earth's mightiest heroes. We love this guy. This is the best. And then in comes the villain Nightmare, just to ruin the day for everybody involved. He taps into Banner's subconscious and then makes him resort back to the monstrous, uncontrollable ways that he used to be. Again, kind of like when Wanda toyed with him in Age of Ultron, except this time he had a nice handy statue to break over his friends' heads instead, you know? He grabs a statue that was made for him and then he tosses it right at Thor. The Hulk even goes after Banner's girlfriend, Kate Waynesboro, so surely this is the day the Hulk never wished happened, so we had to include it. Number 4, Train of Emotions. Not all of these outbursts are necessarily the Hulk's fault. Sometimes it's the humans or other evil villains that are involved that just use him as a vessel. He's forced to live with a good amount of trauma, so much so that he's easily triggered by humans and their machines, like trains, for example. In the Incredible Hulk issue 122, the Hulk has a moment where he kind of destroys an entire locomotive. Hear me out, Hulk is still the victim in this situation. Now the thing is, no passengers were on the train. Great, lucky, awesome. But before he lashed out, he explained how these machines are always hurting the Hulk, or they carry soldiers to where the Hulk is hiding. So he's used to humans wanting to hurt him or do tests on him. So much so that just the sight of the train upsets our man. Now imagine if there were people on that train, they would think that it's all his fault, when in actuality it's just the government scaring him. I don't know, maybe stop launching missiles at him. He might trust you, just an idea. Number 3, sent to space. Again. This time it wasn't Director Fury, no. This time it happened in Amazing Spider-Man issue 328. The Hulk gets launched into space, but not in a fancy ship and not for a fancy mission, but because Spider-Man was the current Captain Universe host, and the Hulk simply got in his way. Peter Parker obtained these new powers. He can now control web lines through willpower alone, and the dude can straight up fly. This is a great day for Peter, but it's about to become way more interesting. In comes the Hulk, ready to smash for bucks, as he puts it. Well, Peter and his new powers have got some showing off to do. After a brief exchange of words and punches, Peter finishes the battle by punching the Hulk into space. And the Hulk has accepted defeat. He thinks this is the end. He's like, wow, just like the Beatles, here comes the sun. Look at me, defeated by something I can't even punch. How tragic. And then Spider-Man swoops up, grabs him, and pulls him back down to Earth. Close one. Number 2, the other snap. In the series Incredible Hulk Future Imperfect, we meet the alternate dark future version of the Hulk. His name was the Maestro. He made his first appearance in a vision back in Incredible Hulk Volume 2, issue 401. But the Maestro is the main antagonist in this story. Now it takes place about 100 or so years in the future after a nuclear war put the planet close to extinction, similar to Hulk the End, similar vibes. Now the Maestro had been absorbing all this nuclear radiation this whole time, and he ended up becoming the strongest thing on the planet. He had these massive increases in strength and anger, plus he had the brains of Banner, so arguably he's unstoppable. While the two beasts are scrapping it out, the Hulk helps some bystanders out when a building almost crushes them. Now while this is happening and he's distracted, in comes Maestro and snaps the Hulk's neck. I mean, that would suck any day of the week, but a future version of yourself doing it, I mean, that just adds insult to injury. And finally, number 1, punched into retirement. Thor Ragnarok ended with the Asgardians drifting off into space. Surtur had just laid waste to Asgard in order to defeat Hela, and like Odin himself said, Asgard is not a place, it's a people. And these people are about to run into a bigger, badder ship very shortly. Avengers Infinity War opens with the same ship being taken over by Thanos and the Black Order. It starts off with Ebony Maw. He's giving a nice speech to a bunch of people who are dead and can't even hear the speech. And meanwhile, Thanos is rolling back his shoulders. He's already obtained the power gem at this point, and he knows the Space Stone is on this ship. But the Hulk comes out for one last swing. He comes out beast mode and starts smashing Thanos. Now for a moment, we think that the Hulk has got him. For a moment. And then Thanos, without the use of the Power Stone, beats up the Hulk so hard that he doesn't come out in the entire movie. This guy punched him in the neck so hard, he was like, okay, I'm done. I'm retired. I'm definitely not coming out. See you in 5 years, maybe.
Number 10, Dark Hulk. Within the pages of Incredible Hulk 371 lies Shanzar, the sorcerer supreme of his dimension, known as Strange World. He killed and assimilated everyone in his own world, and now he's branching out. However, to enter another dimension, he needed a strong body to host him. This he found in the Hulk. Reaching across dimensions through mystic portals, he grabs Hulk with expanding tentacles and takes mystical command of the green behemoth. Inside the Hulk's mind, Shanzar discovers the Hulk has a mysterious barred door in his mind, and behind it is something so powerful it frightens Shanzar. Luckily for Hulk, Doctor Strange and Namor team up with Dr. Banner's Psyche and working together free the Hulk from the sinister sorcerer's control. Later, Hulk finds out his wife has lost their baby during the pregnancy and she's become a nun. It's weird and you definitely need to read it.
Number 9, Batman versus the Incredible Hulk. I think the crazy thing here is that Batman takes on the Hulk in a fight and wins. Also, Joker somehow convinced the Hulk to fight Batman by making fun of the way Batman looks and arguing that his matching green hair makes him and Hulk one and the same. Birds of a feather. Batman takes on the Hulk in a fisticuff style fight and still somehow manages to win, even though it's been established in the past that even super-powered beings have hurt themselves just from striking the Hulk on both his outside and even while attempting to infiltrate his insides. In the end, Batman almost gets crushed by the Hulk but escapes his grasp by successfully discombobulating him. Boom on the ears. Boxing the ears of your opponent might work normally, but I'm not super convinced that this should work on the Hulk, who is often known for his intense durability, which often leaves him unfazed by many unexpected attacks. Also, I feel like if you're holding someone here, like you're probably expecting someone to hit you on the head if their hands are free. It's just, you should expect it. When Hulk uses his massive lung capacity to avoid breathing in sleeping gas, a swift kick to his solar plexus manages to force him to breathe out and inhale the sleeping gas, passing out. It also features a ridiculous Batman pose when Hulk attempts to crush a very graceful looking Batman. Batman's like, ugh. I'm like, why is this like a weird lover pose? What's happening in this panel?
Number 8. What if General Ross became the Hulk? In this story, we find General Thaddeus Ross hassling Dr. Bruce Banner about why his new invention, the Gamma Bomb, is having so many delays. As the two of them are arguing, an assistant named Igor spots a teenager on the bomb's test site. Ross is already pretty angry, so he sets out to yell at the youngster to get off of the premises, but then finds the G-Bomb countdown is still activated, and when the bomb detonates, he transforms into a monstrous gray Hulk. Regaining consciousness, he decides to just head home, and he gives his wife Betty a serious fright. In a condensed tragedy, he basically ends up hurling a tank away into the air, and later discovers it landed on his house and killed his wife. If that wasn't bad enough, he later breaks down and begs Bruce Banner to help him to fix the problem, but Bruce ends up just shooting him in the head. It's a really nice shoe on the other foot kind of moment.
Number 7, job security. When it comes to Hulk stories and personas, one of my favorite in terms of the strangest but most memorable is his time as Joe Fixit. Joe Fixit is one of Hulk's personas that is not as dim-witted in terms of personality, but is also much more self-serving than some of the others. Joe Fixit is a gray Hulk persona who often likes wearing really nice suits. We first get introduced to him in Incredible Hulk issue 347, but the story I'm talking about comes to us from the next issue 348. It's here that Fixit picks up a weird weakness to sunlight until Absorbing Man absorbs that weakness near the end of the story, curing the Hulk while simultaneously trying to actually absorb the Hulk's power. didn't work out for him. Though in a bizarre twist, this just helps Fix-It in their fight. I also love that Fix-It is just super popular with all the ladies in the comics. It's so strange, but it's so excellent. Also, Joe Fix-It can be a pretty stand-up person, so I guess I get it. And those sweet, sweet suits. Fix-It makes a pretty entertaining appearance as well in the early Wolverine Volume 2 issues. Actually, I believe he shows up throughout all of that run of Wolverine. Personally, issue number 8 from that early story with him is one of my favorites.
Number 6, Hulk Gang. Okay, this one is pretty weird. The Hulk Gang actually appears in a Wolverine comic as part of the Old Man Logan story arc. These guys rule over an area known as Hulkland and are basically hillbilly thugs. Seriously, they have trucker hats and everything, it's awful. The Hulk family is the product of Bruce Banner and She-Hulk, who is actually his first cousin, so yeah. They're basically thugs who drive around collecting rent money from the people unfortunate enough to live in the area. They cruise around in the Fantastic Car, a vehicle capable of splitting into 4 individual compartments, affectionately called the Flying Bathtub. These guys have hilarious names like Billy Bob Banner and Bobby Joe Banner, and answer to the one and only Pappy Banner, godfather of the Trailer Park Hulk family. In the story, Logan kills most of the Hulk gang with his claws, later loading the Fantastic Car with explosives, and in a super epic scene, he is eaten by the Hulk, heals up inside of his stomach, and then cuts his way out, killing Banner. It's super bad, and he's like, "What's the matter, Banner? Something you ate?" It's great.
Number 5, The Bet. This is an Avengers story featuring the whole team, but is really funny when it comes to the Hulk's part in it all. Well, Hulk and Jessica Drew, really. This story in this issue out of Avengers Assemble is that Tony Stark makes a bet with Bruce Banner as to, between the two of them, which of their 2 teams can apprehend the villain and save the day first. I say teams, but they both really have more of a team up, as a lot of the other Avengers just prefer to stay out of this ridiculous bet and remain neutral parties. In the end, it's Jessica Drew and Hulk versus Iron Man and Thor. This story gives us a few great moments between Hulk and Spider-Woman, especially when we realize she agrees to be a part of his team because her pheromone powers actually allow her to influence the Hulk and sort of control him. At one point, she even gets him to make a sandwich for her, albeit a very messy sandwich because, yeah, it is the Hulk. You'll have to read the arc to see who wins the bet, but the beginning of the bet and the scene with the sandwich making starts in issue number 9 of Avengers Assemble Volume 2.
Alright, number 4, Incredible Hulk, The End. Now for more serious tone. This story takes us to the end of time, where the Hulk is the only thing left. After a violent war ending in a nuclear holocaust, all life on Earth is wiped out, except for the Hulk and some cockroaches. It's a tragic look at a haunting Marvel future, as Bruce interacts with a VidBot left behind to collect information on humanity's downfall. The VidBot informs him that he is literally the only one left, and at one point asks him if he would like to die. He spends the next few years wandering the ruins of old cities, remembering what once was, and eventually decides he does. Leaping from a building, his suicide is interrupted when he transforms into the Hulk in midair. The story eventually comes to a really tragic end, as Hulk, or Bruce Banner I should say, eventually has a heart attack, and in his dying moments, Banner pleads with the Hulk persona to let go, claiming they will be reunited with their friends in the afterlife, but Hulk refuses. Banner dies, and the Hulk still remains, slowly realizing that he will die when he returns to human form. Whoa.
Number 3, Mr. Fantastic versus the Incredible Hulk. This fight might be only a few pages long, but it's pretty bizarre and memorable. And it's gonna be a little bit more of a wacky funny than a super sad funny, like the last one. Super sad funny. Is that a thing? I don't know. But I feel like it is a little bit sometimes. This moment comes to us from the Contest of Champions number 2. Here we see Mr. Fantastic face off with the Incredible Hulk. Who will win? Likely the person that you expected, the Hulk. Reed may be brilliant, but his stretching powers are no match for the Hulk's lung capacity. Yes, you heard that right. For those who didn't know, one of Hulk's powers is breathing. We kind of talked about it a little earlier in his fight with Batman, but in essence he has such an expansive amount of lung capacity that it basically becomes like a superpower for him, allowing him to dive deep even on just one breath, and it gives him basically like super breath powers. It also means he does not need to breathe as often as other people, which is what ends up being the deciding factor in his fight against Mr. Fantastic, and ensures him the victory. While Mr. Fantastic attempts to suffocate Hulk wrapping around him, he takes in one big breath and actually inhales Reed Richards before he even has time to react. It's bizarre and hilarious, but also pretty great. While inhaled, Mr. Fantastic is super compressed because he was stretched at the time, and as such basically just just passes out from suffocating while inside the Hulk's mouth.
Number 2, Professor Hulk. In Incredible Hulk Volume 1 in 1991, Bruce Banner is a man with multiple personalities at war with one another. Doc Samson is working to help the Hulk and puts Bruce in a deep hypnotic state in which the Grey Hulk and the Green Hulk fight against one another in Banner's mind. The two versions of the Hulk lead them to believe Banner is suffering from multiple personalities. Doc Samson helps Hulk merge his 3 personalities together, the third one being Bruce Banner, and they become this awesome dude known as Professor Hulk. Check out the bunny slippers. Sometimes referred to as merged Hulk, this form was dominant for years, a mighty green Goliath with Bruce's intelligence and the confidence of Grey Hulk. The Professor believes this to be his final, true form, but unfortunately, he actually exists as a newly created 4th personality, and eventually he does fade away as Banner's mind becomes clouded and starts to deteriorate once again.
Number 1, The Incredible Hulk versus the Roller Disco Devils. This short one-page comic and fight comes to us from a Hostess Fruit Pies advertisement that was featured in various other issues of Marvel Comics from the mid-70s to the early 80s. In this story, Hulk faces the Roller Disco Devils, a street gang that love disco and love to pester the neighborhood with their overbearingly loud music. Those ruffians, as they skate around carrying boom boxes. How dare they disturb the peace? It was because of the Roller Disco Devils that the children of the neighborhood were forced to stay inside and were unable to go out and buy Hostess Fruit Pies. Oh no! Fortunately, the Hulk showed up and made quick work of the ridiculous villains in this story, allowing the children to leave their apartments and enjoy their fruit pies. The short story and ad finished with the Hulk asking, "Why can't all humans be nice like Hostess Fruit Pies?" Friends, if it wasn't made apparent in Ultimate Universe, I think Hulk really wants more reasons to eat humans. I'm just saying. Comparing us to fruit pies? Wow.
This video brought to you by Hostess.
Right? Where are our Hostess Fruit Pies? That's what I want to know. Hulk, bring me some Hostess Fruit Pies and make me a sandwich.